Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to another 3v3 fastest map on StarCraft Brood Wars Remastered. We're about to jump into replay number 311. I'm really excited about this replay for a couple of reasons. A couple of them I'll get into while we're in the game, but this is a 3 Terran, 2 Zerg, 1 Protoss game. We usually don't see that in games, you usually see a lot of Protoss. And it's 23 minutes, and this one features my buddy Abyssal Minstrel. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know that this guy is a guy that I like to play with. I've actually played against him a couple times as well. But, well, the dude from last game, this must be when we're just getting to know one another, and we're playing on the same team, or maybe he's talking about Philosopher. I'm surprised he's usually good. Let's see. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out the teams while the speech is going on. Alright, so anyways, starting in the top left corner, we've got Abyssal Minstrel, the red Terran. And then over here in the middle right, we've got Philosopher 3. And then in the bottom middle, we've got John Redcorn 1129, the blue Protoss. Team number 2 in the top middle, we've got Rodin, the brown Terran. Then over here in the middle left, we've got Gene Williams, the white Zerg. And then over here in the bottom right corner, we've got Frodo Swaggins, the teal Zerg. I was looking at replays to do tonight, and I saw that name, and I was like, that's all I need to know. We're doing this one. So Frodo Swaggins in the bottom left right corner. And I just think that is the funniest name I've probably heard on StarCraft. I've many times complained about how I don't think the names are as good in StarCraft as they are in some of the other games I play. And this guy's proven me wrong here. So sort of secretly cheering for Frodo Swaggins, although I don't want my team to lose. So let's go ahead and see what the APM is. We check out Philosopher 3. Looks like actually Abyssal Minstrel over here is at about almost 100 APM. He is the highest by quite a bit. And then no one else really cracking, gosh, even 70. This guy's over 70. So it looks like this team number 1 is a little bit faster, but this looks like it's going to be a slower pace game. And for 23 minutes, that makes sense. Probably not going to see any killer attacks early on, probably just some annoyances and early harassment. So let's go ahead and see what everyone's doing early on. As we see White doing a pretty standard Zerg build, getting the sunken there with some hatcheries. Ooh, he's actually getting a sunken there. Okay, so protecting himself pretty well. Here's Abyssal Minstrel over here. He's going ahead and put up a high choke point here. Another one behind it. Another barracks behind it. And building a way up there. Alright, we see this Terran over here, Rodin, playing really close to the base. I like the setup actually with the bunker right behind it and a bunker above, using the supply depots to block some entry points to the economy here. A lot of speech going on. I'm trying to actually ignore it so I can just play the game. Anywho, purple over here. Also 2 bunkers near home. Also 2 barracks to start. Also using the supply depots to block some areas off. Putting them over here in the corner. Here comes the academy. And then down here, this Zerg getting a good amount of defense here in case someone comes after him. I think that's smart. And now macroing up. I really like that as a start. And then here, just 3 gateways. A cannon or 2. Just 1 cannon. My base very exposed. Looks like I'm getting another Nexus down here. Oh no, that's a pylon. So, not impressed with my start, although I do have 9 Zealots on the field. I don't think anyone else really has too much going on. Alright, here comes the factory. A little bit of a slow pace, so we'll keep things up. This is, I'm going to go tank White, I guess focus D for now. Yeah, so he's saying sort of play it slow. I'm going to try to go after White with tanks. I'm saying we should attack them with the Zergs. Saying go bottom right. Alright, here he goes with some Marines. This guy's got enough defense that unless this guy waits for me, I don't think it's going to be enough. Alright, so here I go. Together, This assault may do it, so we'll see what we've got. He's saying go from below, which is smart attack. Alright, now this is going to be tough because there are a lot of sunken colonies here. Let's go ahead and move this out so we can see this a little bit better. Alright, so the Marines sort of split off on the bottom, and the Zealots go up top. I actually think that was working. He's really trying to preserve those Marines that are up there, which I guess makes sense. He's getting more of these down. Here comes Red with a little bit of a reinforcement. So we could just sit right here and do a lot of damage. We don't need to go crazy. Alright, there's another sunken, another 2 sunkens up. I mean, it's making this guy have to build these. This Zealot's still pushing on this. We need to focus this down. Alright, so we're continuing to push. These Sunkens from behind are still doing damage. Here comes Brown to sort of help push all the rest of this away. That Zealot finally goes down. Alright, so good defense there by Teal, and that's why, as a Zerg, you gotta have those sunken colonies. Like, he made a lot of them. 5 of them went down on that attack. Alright, here comes the second assault with more Zealots. Alright, those Marines are sort of just being cannon fodder here, as are the drones. Alright, so these Zealots, though, are attacking these hatcheries that are up here. Why not just put pressure there? But it's giving him time to get up more sunken colonies. But in the meantime, more Zealots are coming. So he's just going to be under constant pressure. Now we're pushing on different parts of the base. He's time to attack those. Those are kind of low. Here comes Brown with a few vultures and some more Marines to try to help with this. And again, he has to get more drones. He's like in a really bad spot here with the pressure that's being put on him. So Frodo Swaggins is swagging out and surviving. That's giving White time to get really strong. All right, so let's sort of hold on White for a second and check out what kind of upgrades we've got coming in. So we got Brown getting their Marine upgrades for attack range. We see Blue getting upgrades for speed, for Zealots. That's really dangerous for me to have because then I can rush in on him in a much stronger fashion. Although it looks like they're kind of reinforcing now. At least it looks like I'm slowing down. I'm getting a starport. Am I transitioning to carriers? I kind of like this slow down, get defense, and get ready for whatever's coming play. In the meantime, Red over here. He's got some factories. Doesn't really have all that much. Getting a lot of Constat stations. Brown also sort of getting himself going. Maybe getting some drops together. Purple over here. Getting himself going. He's got a nice little force of Marines. He's behind in the factory production. There are all these Zealots. More of them are coming. This guy's just really having a hard time. He's just building sunken colonies everywhere. I think he's just trying to survive whatever's coming his way. And here come the Stargates. So it looks like we're going to transition into carriers. Getting plasma shield upgrades. Here comes the fleet beacon, so yeah, carriers are coming. This is this is not something I usually do. I'm tech switching from the gateways, which I was really pressing with early on. Now I'm getting, really don't have the gas for the now, I guess that's what I'm trying to get going. But in the meantime, this guy, he's got his gas going. He's going to need to get a bunch of overlords soon. That's what he's going to get supply blocked. But he's got Hydralisk. Alright, so this is where he's going to be in trouble. He's got Red pressuring from that side. I don't know if he can get all the way down to here, but he can definitely get around this area and bother him. It's going to force White to come up here, and White does not want to do that. He's going to have to really move his guys out of the way. Yeah, look, I don't think he realizes those guys are going up there. Alright, so good pressure from red. I like that. He did say he was going to do that. In the meantime, brown is getting ready some kind of drop. Let's see where he decides to go with it. Sort of keeping an eye on that. So again, we'll speed things up a little bit while this guy gets things ready. Looks like he's really got some kind of plan cooking. He really does. Alright, in the meantime, here come the carriers. So again, I've got plenty of defense for my base. This guy's only just now getting going. We're trying to see what this guy's got. Watch for tank drops from Brown. He's getting ready for some kind of massive drop. I can't wait to see it. Alright, so we're keeping our eyes on that. Alright, here he goes with something. Alright, here comes the tank drop. Oh, this is going to be wide open for him here. Oh, and a big drop by Brown right in the middle of the base. Oh my goodness, that is bad. And he's got Marine support. Now, if he completely abandons what he's got going on over here, he probably has enough units to go help with this. And he needs to refocus his units to go do that. In the meantime, I decide to attack Teal. I've got carriers as well as the Zealots. He's got a few lurkers, but I just walk right through them. Here come the Hydralisks, but it might be a little too late. Oh, Frodo Swaggins isn't swagging anymore. Oh, in the meantime, they come in on me. White decides to come in on me and put some pressure. That's why those cannons were so smart. Purple is going to bail me out with some great defense. Oh, this is a lot of tanks, though. This guy's sieged up. This would be bad news, and he does. Purple's sort of going to be stuck down there, but he's stuck in a good place because it's near my base. In the meantime, here comes Teal trying to take out these carriers. I think he took out one, but he's not going to have enough. He's got a few spore colonies. These things aren't doing exactly as much damage as I'd like them to do. Oh, this one's in complete danger. Alright, in the meantime, Red survived somehow through that. He's getting battle cruisers. So he survived Brown's big drop. Brown's getting ready to do another big drop. He might be trying to do it down here on Teal, or maybe he's trying to do it on Purple. We'll keep an eye on what he decides to do. He's got a bunch of tanks in the middle of the map. Teal continues to be in trouble. He is somehow kind of surviving through a lot of this. These interceptors are sort of just aimlessly firing around. Here comes some more carriers. More are coming out. That's bad news. These Marines move in. This guy's down to 18 workers. If I focus fire at these carriers, they'd be a lot more effective. But here we are, just sort of attacking the assimilators and this hatchery a little bit. Luckily, this guy's here with these Marines to help out. In the meantime, what's Brown doing? Brown with another drop up here. This one gets taken out. Okay, so we continue to put pressure on Teal. He's got 9 workers. I think this is pretty much all that she wrote for him. Here comes White with a giant drop. Oh my, this is not a good thing for Purple. He has a pretty good defense at his base. Alright, these carriers continue. I mean, this is continued destruction. Alright, I say let's move out. Oh, he said I got this one. Alright, so now I'm going to move. White's got this giant drop prepared in the middle of the base. Here comes Brown attacking Red, who doesn't really have much to defend himself. Alright, here I come in on White, sending Zealots in with no detectors to support them. So a few will get in and cause a little bit of havoc, but that's a pretty good front defense. But Those aren't going to do anything against a bunch of carriers, and here they come. Here's some more at base as well. I wish I brought all of them together. Oh, and here's this big drop. It came in on white, or it came in on purple. He left it in the perfect spot. Now, they're there, but there's a Comstat station. He's got tanks in the right place. He might be able to survive this. Oh, now with Brown coming in, he won't. All right, here I come to try to save him. I'm going after these tanks. All right, I'm attacking white in the meantime. I decide to move my carriers up. I'm going to go try to save red, that's sort of silly of me to try to do. All right, these Goliaths are going to be awfully dangerous. I think the problem here is I'm just sending the carriers to just do whatever, and they're not attacking who I want them to attack. I should just have them all attacking one person at a time, just picking these guys off. They're doing decently well against these Goliaths, but I need to be focus firing a little bit better. Alright, so I do seem to clear out most of what Brown has there. Go back to killing white. White is continuing to put pressure on purple. Purple does have this sort of secured at his base. He's just holding on with those tanks. That's all he really needs to do is hold on. In the meantime, oh no, some Devourers come in with Mutalisk. Oh, I didn't see that coming at all. He gets those out right at the right time and just completely cleans that up. Oh my goodness. What a job by Gene Williams. And for all of that, also, look at Frodo Swaggin still hanging in there. Alright, so purple still getting attacked by these lurkers, but they can't get much closer because of the tanks. But they've certainly caused a lot of havoc, so red is about to die. Looks like finally they got in on him. Purple's pretty much incapacitated. I'm down here pumping carriers out of 4 starports. Just because they're getting interceptors, I can't see what kind of upgrades they have. Alright, here's red with a bunch of... Oh, no. He has a cloaked wraith going after this tank. And then there's a bunch of cloaked wraiths up here by Brown. Brown really came alive here. He did a good job. Really wasn't touched most of the game and was able to do a couple nice drops. Alright, so now I decide, alright, I'm going to go and attack Brown because he's the most dangerous. And that was probably a huge mistake. They're totally ready for this. Oh my gosh. Oh man. We didn't even need Frodo Swaggins. Yeah, that's all she wrote. They have all kinds of stuff prepared for those carriers. Yeah, I think that's probably all she wrote for this game. Red kind of just sending his units, trying to get down here, I believe, in this free base. Purple does finally clear out at least the ones that are up here. There's still a few at the front of his base. He's building sort of around everything. Got some Corsairs mixing in with everything. But I really needed some detectors. Go after the lurkers, so my zealots can do their job. Got better with toss. That's true that is much easier to play Protoss than probably any other race, just because of the photon cannons, quite honestly. And then in StarCraft 2, they made it so photon cannons basically don't do anything, and Protoss are actually pretty weak. Alright, so red pretty much about out of this. Here comes white with Guardians to try to sort of end the day. Here I am trying to make a last sort of ditch effort, but this is sort of all she wrote already. This guy's got such an incredible army. Wow. Alright, so he ends up leaving and getting eliminated. I don't think I'm too far behind here. White sending in some Zerglings, but the cannons will sort of save the day here. But I think they're going to get pretty close to getting ready to overwhelm me here with everything they've got. Brown's certainly taking his time. Here comes a bunch of overlords. Lurkers. This is a scary looking army that's about to come at me here. Alright. White pretty much easily fixing this. Oh, there comes some Valkyries. So the Wraiths come in to take those out. Alright, in the meantime, here comes the assault. Smart to send the Overlords in to soak up a lot of that damage, and then you can come right in on the carriers. Lurkers don't even have to worry about how much damage they're going to be taking. Actually, yes they do, because the Zealots came out and wiped those out. That's nice. Alright, we held the best we could, but that is all she wrote. Quite a game there. Back and forth for a little while, but again, Terran versus Zerg, once you let Zerg get going, if you're not necked up and blast them out of the sky, they can just overlog you like that. So there you go. Good job by White, making the tech switch when you needed to take out those carriers. And I thought I was making a nice switch there, but it just wasn't enough. And got detectors and a few other mistakes I made along the way. But again, hindsight's 20/20. But anyways, thanks for joining me on that one. I had a little bit of a mishap with some of my replays, so I lost a few and maybe gained a few. I'm not sure. I was looking through some old ones and had some trouble with StarCraft, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get out these last few. Only got about 20 or so left. So stay tuned for those. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll catch you on the next replay.